Hello everyone, this is Roland Jung from EPLAN Quebec, Canada. And today I want to talk about Rittal. Rittal actually where everything is faster, better everywhere. You can see here the French version. But also Rittal is the founder of EPLAN. EPLAN is actually efficient engineering is basically when you start using EPLAN. And technically this is part of Rittal since 1984, and it was always focused on trying to help you deliver faster. Now, where does it actually start? You know, when you actually look at this, it all starts with the Rittal software, the Rittal EPLAN value chain. EPLAN, the software, Rittal, the hardware. And also today we have Rittal automation actually that is behind it, which will help us on optimizing our manufacturing process. So of course, when we actually dig into this and we look at the challenges, everyone has the same challenges and everyone would like to deliver faster. Rittal software and Rittal automation together will be able to actually help you in reducing your engineering time, helping you in reducing your manufacturing time. Sourcing and operations is of course the main factor where you get in. Now, step number one is to digitalize everything you have using a tool that basically was made for electrical schematics. And on top, we also know that manufacturers such as Siemens, Phoenix, Wago, Rockwell have parts you'll be using, and they are to be found on our EPLAN data portal. So technically, what we ask you to do is drag and drop your components into the schematics, and at the same time, in the same tool, we create the 3D in and for the panel layout. Now, of course, we know that you have to share this with the external world, and that's why we have created an eView, a PDF export, DWG, Excel export, all this to get your things done faster. So the engineering time guaranteed is reduced with EPLAN, and it's very simple to do so. It's all in one single tool, EPLAN Propanel, and that's our software. Now, the advantage of 3D no longer has to be explained. The biggest advantage, though, above and beyond the 3D, is the fact that we can pre-drill for you all the backplates, all the panels up front before we deliver them to you. So here Rittal has Rittal automation with their machines in-house at the Rittal Application Center, and we prepare all the panels so you don't have to do it. So you focus on the assembly. Talking about how it's done, it's kind of the shadow of each component. Here the ball has a shadow. In EPLAN, each component has a shadow that represents the drilling information, and therefore we can use the Rittal Perforex or LaserX to do all the drilling and cutting via CNC without really any extra effort. Now, when we actually look into the smart wiring concept, we dig one step further. So we know there's a mechanical preparation up front. We can help you on that side. You have to cut your rails and ducts and then do the assembly. Now, of course, and only when everything is assembled, we can actually start the wires. We did a calculation for 100 wires. It takes about $952 Canadian dollars plus the material to do the assembly, and then click, we can start at that point in time at the rate of 7 or 8 minutes per wire, we can start the wiring. Now, this for 100 wires is roughly $11.32. It's half of the work that is spent on the wiring. Sometimes more, sometimes less. It really depends on how much your components require wires. But in average, you can say that every component will have anywhere between 6 and 9 wires. So depending on the number of components and terminals, this may take X number of wires times 8 minutes. This is kind of where we are nowadays in the industry here in Canada. What we are proposing is actually to look at this 7 and 8 minutes and see how we can reduce this time and actually prepare some of it in advance. Now, we actually did rethink this because inside the software, we can come up with the exact length. Now, if you have the exact length, bingo, you can prefabricate the wires, which means on a WT, like for Rittal automation systems or using our services, we can prepare the wires up front, we can cut the panels, and all you have to do is wait for the components to come in and do the assembly. And from that point on, it's down to 1 minute per wire. The savings are enormous because you save on time, you can produce double as much, and this is called the EPLAN SmartWire. So how does it work? So up front, of course, we are inside the EPLAN software. And as I said earlier, the EPLAN software has two portions, the schematics and the panel layout itself. So if we actually take a look at one of these components and we try and see how it's actually matched up, I can simply take a component like this, right mouse click and say go to counterpiece, and you will see this is exactly where the component is. Now in EPLAN, we have a bunch of symbols. Each symbol represents a or multiple part numbers, has a device tag, and that's how everything is linked together. So technically, if we actually look at our proper pages here, we actually have some schematics, right? These are 2 pages of schematics. And based on these 2 pages of schematics, we can already, in EPLAN, generate a bill of material. This is nice because the report is one among 35 different types of reports that we can generate. And if it can be generated here in a graphical format, it can also be taken and exported into an Excel sheet. Just by the click of the fingers, you just select whatever you want. I want a bill of material in Excel format. It just generates the Excel sheet that can now be provided to the sourcing people, import this into an ERP system, and you have the exact order, part numbers, and quantities that you actually require on this particular project. Now, interesting is, once these components come in, how does it look like from a document perspective? And this is where EPLAN specializes. We have now manufacturing documents, one, again, the bill of material, the kitting list, but then we have also a cut sheet. The cut sheet is quite interesting because what it does, it enables you to actually take every DIN rail and every dock and pre-cut it. We even have a machine for this that actually can pre-cut this up front so that you don't have to necessarily go back and forth, measure it up, see how it's actually done. Now, for each of these cutted ducts and rails, we have, of course, a drill pattern that is associated to it. You can see it here. This is the drill pattern of the door. This is the drill pattern of the back plate. Everything is actually pre-drilled. So if you get it from RAC, Rittal Application Center, you don't have to worry about this drawing here because it's just simply going to be there and it's going to be done and delivered to you. Now there is the assembly portion. The assembly portion is quite easy because everything you have on the 3D side, so remember we had the 3D here somewhere, and from that 3D we basically update or we redraw this view. So just to show you how this all fits together, I'm going to do a couple of modifications. I'm going to add first some schematics in this SSA3, in this third panel, and then I'll show you actually how it's done. So technically, this is what we have right now. I can actually jump to the 3D and then you'll see this is basically my 3D. This is part of the same project. So what I'm going to do is I will, with you together, take something like this page here and we will just add some connections or we will add some more controllers. So I'm going to add with you together a new page, simple, very, very simple. It's a motor control page for motor 2. There we go. Boom. Page is empty. It has a plot frame. And now I can do 2 things. I can, of course, go into my favorites and I can just drag and drop, a couple of motor controls. I can do this. Of course, the very, very first time when you start your very first project, maybe you don't have these favorite libraries. Then all you do is you basically can take whatever is there. I'm going to go very quickly like this, copy, and I'm just going to dump it in here on this one. So I did a Control C, Control V. Interesting about this is X, Y. It actually repositions everything, and there we just place it. Now, in this placement, it's going to ask me a couple of questions about okay, what is it you want as an overload? What is it you want as, depending on what horsepower rating, it's all basically set here. It can even be very specific to Allen Bradley, ABB, Siemens controllers, whatever, might suit best. Anyways, so I'm just going to place it there. And it's also, and this is the fun fact, it numbers all the devices, all the terminals. You don't have to worry about this. The system does that since 1984. It also creates cross-references, things that typically you have to take care of. You can see here I have a relay, CR239, and CR239 has here some cross-references which basically are linked to their contacts. It all makes sense like this. Now, what I'm going to do here is it's going to be only for one motor, so I'm going to get rid of these ones here. And it's super easy to actually do modifications inside EPLAN. So if there's something you don't need, all you have to do is you go back in there, you delete it, or you connect it to something else, you stretch it, you make it longer, whatever. It's super easy. It's a graphical editor that everyone or anyone can actually run. Now, another fun fact is also that we run here inside EPLAN or inside a specific page. It's up to you if you want to do the whole thing or not. You can enter your wire designations automatically. Now, this means that all the wires, aside from the devices, are also numbered automatically. So each wire that basically consists of a source and a target always have a wire number, which can be assigned automatically, and this is actually done automatically. So wire numbering, device tag numbering, check, it's all done. So you're much faster to do this, right? So of course, it also remembers certain connections or whatever. So if you want to make this a little bit smaller, closer, whatever, super easy to just go about and do this. Now, like I said earlier, if this is something that you might want to put in your favorites, you can on the fly create what we don't call them blocks, we call them macros, a window macro. Create window macro, give it a name, put it in your favorites. Next time around, you can just go and dump it there and take it from there. Now, the interesting thing is all these devices, all these components that I copied and pasted are now in my summary list. They are now part of my bill of material. So as soon as I open one of these pages, you can see, I don't know if you saw it, but it actually updates the quantities. My part numbers are now perfectly in line with my schematics. Now, the only thing that is not yet in line is these components that I've placed on the schematics have not yet been placed. You can see here TB3, 1, 2, 3, TB4, 1, 2, 3. They have not been placed yet on the layout or on any of the panels. So I'm going to do this with you together. So I'm going to go here on the back plate, and I will go and check out which components from this particular object weren't placed. So you can see actually here, you can put a filter on different identifiers. You can put different locations. Just unplaced parts will be enough. And I'm actually curious about the components that have not been from this section here. I call SSA3, which was my new page. And you will see very quickly here, you will see a couple of components. So you have a relay, maybe one. So I'm going to just drag and drop it, and I'm going to dump it right there. Now, one thing I may want to do is once I have it here, maybe I want to stretch a little bit my different components because I don't need all that extra area or whatever. So I take whatever was there, right? And I just change the length. So the number one thing I'm going to do is take this one, move it over to that side, take maybe the same thing on the rail, put it also down to, maybe not exactly to the end, but ½ inch from the end. And then I'm going to go with this one here. It's long enough if it actually goes there. I'm fine with that. So here's my overload. First thing was my relay, okay? The second thing I'm going to place, and you may know that some of these components are actually components like this one here. It has to be placed and hooked up to the component here. And what it has inside EPLAN, we have these special placements where it just boom hooks up to the component and it works perfectly fine. So it's attached to the CR. Now, of course, if I move this guy over to the right-hand side just for fun, whoops, this one did not snap on to the placement there. Auxiliary mounting panel front. I was expecting actually to have a better connection like I just had it earlier. Right there. There we go. Boom. There we go. So it's actually now hooked up to the component. You can see actually if I go here, see it's nicely hooked up. It's linked in exactly as I wanted it. So now it makes more sense. This is my CR. This is my overload. I can actually change my device tag look if I want to. So on this one here, if you want the device tag to be similar to the other one, you can always go into display and say, you know what, why don't we put this one center inside 0 degree? And it will actually be center inside 0 degree, same as the one above. If I prefer having the readings at the top, I can have it at the top. This is all just finesse that you can decide. You know, you can say here, I want this top center outside but 0 degree. Then it would sit just on top, whichever, you know, whatever fits best, that's up to you. And then of course we have a couple of terminals we have to place. And here for the terminals, I'm going to do the same thing because we have this one here. I'm going to stretch it to the same length as this. This one here, I'm just going to stretch it down and I will be placing these terminals. And of course, here it goes a little bit quicker because when you place terminals, we actually know it's a terminal strip. So it's asking you, do you want to do the terminal strip all at once? You say yes, of course. And you can even be very precise at what the distance is between each of them. Boom, boom, boom. It just places the first one, places the second one, bingo, done. Now, what happens from that point on is you can have EPLAN calculate the wire length. This is the big secret for us to be able to pre-produce the wires. Call us up. We will take the project. The wires you see here are then pre-produced and we ship you the wires so that on your side, you just have to do the assembly. So I remember in this project, we have a couple of different reports. I'm just going to update all of the reports in one single click. So basically what it does, it runs through the table of content, the bill of material, the kitting list, the cutting sheet, the drilling sheet, the assembly, everything is updated in one single click. So all of these changes that I made are actually super easy to control from a documentation's point of view because they are views, reports, model views of what I did in the schematics and the 3D. This is the beauty about EPLAN. It's all, as you can see, in one single software. RITTAL Software provides you with EPLAN and Propanel. This is basically one tool. You don't have two different icons installed. You don't have two different things that have to synchronize with each other. It's all built in one single thing, one single software. So all that is different is eventually the different features that you need for PLCs or for routing or for whatever, you know, specific purposes. But overall, the summarized parts list is always part of your EPLAN or Propanel, regardless, always there. All of them can generate that Excel sheet that I generated earlier, all of them. And of course, drilling a little bit into it, because I'm using the Propanel 3D, I have a possibility to filter on docks and rails. You can see now that my docks and my rails are with a different length here at the top right-hand side. You can drill down to the assembly sheet, and even on the assembly sheet, you will see all the details about all the components that I just added with the details or less details. This is really up to you, and it can even calculate the exact power dissipation of all these components. This is actually for return preparation of the data so that we can calculate and eliminate, you know, any risk of overheating. Now, from the wiring perspective and assembly perspective, of course, we have assembly on the door. We have terminal assembly we can help you with, which is basically in this particular case here, just a list of all the terminals and what's connected to it. We have individual wire fabrication sheet, which can actually tell you, okay, these are the wires you have to be fabricated. You can have it in this format or in this format, or even better, if you look at our smart wiring, it will help the guys down on the shop floor. The biggest secret is that we actually have here, I'm just going to go wireprint.com and you can see more. We have a service here in Canada where we actually do prepare the wires up front. So instead of you crimping manually the wires, we do it automatically on the machine itself, which is this machine here. It stands there, and we prepare the wires and deliver the wires to you prepared, printed with source and target, wire number, and you're down to 1 minute per wire instead of 8 minutes per wire. So on a 1,000 wire project, you can actually do the calculations here. For 1,000 wires, typically you would charge, if you run at $75 an hour, you would charge $8,750 to do the wiring. At 6 minutes per wire, 8 minutes is more the average. Okay, let's put it in the middle. Let's say we run a little bit more efficient at 7 minutes per wire. So it really costs you $10,000. This is what you're going to charge your customer. Now, the cost for landing with the wire print with our solution at 1 minute per wire goes down to only $5,000, close to half of it. Okay, and the reason is, instead of taking 133 hours, you take only 14 hours because we prepared 6 minutes out of those 7, and you're left with 1 minute landing. So you're only 14 hours down instead of 133 hours, which is over two weeks of work for 1,000 wires. The overall savings you can work with is $4,950, and you save $119 an hour. Of course, if your time is charged at a higher rate, you can see these values actually go up. The number of hours saved is not as much. So go check it out on wireprint.com and you can see it. We have a couple of other arguments. It's really coming down to your fabrication time shrinks to half the time with the RITTAL Software EPLAN and Propanel, with the Rittal Application Center, and with the services of prefabricating the wires. Hey, take it up and call us up. It's RITTAL Software, EPLAN, EPLAN Canada. Anywhere in the world, you can find us. Go to our websites and you will find where we are. Give us a call. This is Roland from EPLAN, introducing you to the greater family of EPLAN. Thank you.